Okay, I'm the section chair. My name is Tingjia Xu. This is our technology-enhanced language learning invited speech. The title is Curriculum Development for Creating a Technology-Rich English Language Learning Environment. The invited speaker is Professor Wen-Chi WU, and I would like to introduce her shortly. Wen-Chi Vivian Wen, who received her doctoral degree in United States in 2006, is a distinguished professor of the Department of Foreign Languages and Literature at Asia University in Taiwan. As an experienced English as a foreign language teacher, she teaches a variety of English-related courses. Her recent research is focused on computer-assisted language learning. She has published extensively on core and technology-related journals, including computer-assisted language learning system and so on. She is on the editorial board of Computer-Assisted Language Learning Journal. It is a ICCE journal. Now, let's welcome Professor Wu to deliver her speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Xu, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. I feel privileged to have the opportunity to be here to talk to you about curriculum design in the creating language-rich English language learning environment. For the past 12 years, I've been using different kinds of technology in my classroom to assist all my students in their foreign language learning. And so the ideas for technology use that I'm going to cover in my talk today were mainly developed by me and my long-term research partner, who is Michael Merrick from the United States, as part of our long-term joint research efforts, as well as of our many years of teaching experiences. Oh yeah, sorry. First of all, I would like to use the Nearpod to present. So if you have your laptop or your cell phone devices with you, please Google nearpod.com, nearpod.com, please. And the code you use is right there, DFEKU. So please search for the nearpod.com. But later on, I'm going to engage you guys into a hands-on learning activity, which is very interesting. So we need to use Nearpod as my presentation mode. And you can use a fake name or pseudonym name. You don't need to use your real name. So I'll give you 1 minute to log in. If you have any questions, to log in Nearpod, please raise your hand. Oh, okay. So far, we got 4 participants signing in. I'm expecting more audience to sign in. I think we have pretty good Wi-Fi here, so you should not have any difficulty logging in. Yeah. Okay, 7 participants. We got 7 participants. Okay, I think due to the time constraint, I should, start my presentation. Okay, right away. All right, using technology to assist second or foreign language learning is much in demand by today's students. But many language instructors often lack self-confidence in technology use, and they feel outside their comfort zone when they encounter terminology such called computer-assisted language learning, TALE, or more. That is because their own teachers in years past often use very little or even no technology in their classrooms. So today's teachers often feel less sophisticated than their students in simply the understanding of the potentials of today's technology for language learning. In addition, most academic literature reports mainly on experimental one-time tests and provides very limited guidance on how technology should be incorporated into curriculum design over the term. As a result, rather than making efforts and risk failure, they simply avoid questions of using technology and continue their teaching methods for the rest of their career. When considering creating or developing a technology-rich learning environment, we should bear in mind as a language instructor that the goal is not to simply use more technology. Instead, the goal is to improve learning by using technology that enhances or supports student learning activities. While the improved outcomes are the goal, then technology should be treated as a tool to enhance student learning activity. Then, in this sense, technology is used as a means to an end, not the end in itself. And technology should be part of the lesson plan. It should always support a learning activity, but should not be thought of as a learning activity in and of itself. If the right technology is chosen and used properly, then it would eventually lead to or result in the best learning outcome for the students. So today, in my presentation, we are going to explore how to develop such a technology-rich learning environment by examining very carefully a step-by-step process for making decisions about what technology to use and how to use it. Okay. Before we move on to the very detailed decision-making process for technology use, let's first look at the theoretical framework for how technology will actually improve learning. In the framework, I would like to focus on the three very important and interrelated instructional philosophy, or sometimes we can call them strategies, which are cognitive psychology, constructivism, and active learning. The past several decades have witnessed great changes in the understanding of how people learn, and these changes are the results of the growth in the discipline of psychology. The modern understanding of psychology has revealed that for people to develop mastery of subject matter or deep learning, they need to connect the dots to understand how new information fits in with what they have already known. The more connection be made between the new information and the previous knowledge, the better the learner can make use of new information and apply it as useful knowledge, not just memorize facts. Okay, so the teacher's role is to help students fit new information in with what they have already known. This is called constructivism. So we as teachers, we should take the concept of how students learn into account when making decisions about technology use. For example, students have been found to dislike their instructor who mainly lecture or lecture all the way through in class, or simply have students watch a lecture via video technology out of class. And we have also realized that the old traditional teaching approaches such as lecture, memorization, drill, and practice, dominantly being practiced in the 20th centuries, are nowadays inadequate for new millennium students. So constructivism therefore suggests that using the hands-on active technology will actually do the best job of absorb, internalize, and apply new knowledge. In student active center active learning, students are engaged actively into learning by doing, which means they are provided with ample opportunities for hands-on use of language they are learning, not passive reception of information. Therefore, technology with the feature of providing broad availability of authentic online learning materials and social activity will enhance and improve active learning. So what is technology-rich environment? Okay, it is a known fact that most new millennial students are surrounded by technology in their daily life. They use it naturally and automatically for social interaction, entertainment, recreation, seeking out information that they need. Okay, and these digital native students also require a similar level of technology for their in-class formal learning as well as out-of-class less formal learning. So my definition for technology-rich environment is surrounding students with technology that will enhance and support student learning. And in this environment, technology will be used for several different kinds of learning activities. And remember that each separate use of technology should be planned and selected carefully in order to contribute to student learning experiences. And each separate use will finally, again, lead to the desired beneficial learning outcome. Please also note that using technology should not be the driving force in teachers' decision about what to do in class. So I would like to re-emphasize that we do not use technology only for the sake of using technology. If technology is just for show and it does not contribute to learning, then it has no merits at all. Curriculum development is a very complex process where many learning-related aspects, or we say factors, should be considered. So an effective curriculum must reflect the teacher's own teaching philosophy and instructional goal for the class, and measurable learning outcome for the class, student learning experiences, and available instructional resources and feasible assessment plans. The two major drawbacks of the traditional curriculum design include using more hands-on but not minds-on activity-oriented planning, and planning to cover as much learning content as possible, thus leaving no room or space for deep and understanding and deep learning. The alternative to the traditional learning curriculum are as follows. First, teachers should focus on understanding and knowledge transfer, not just knowledge delivery. And teachers should design curriculum backwards. That means starting from the outcome goals, not whatever technology available in hand. Okay, so starting with the outcome goal first. So in the very thorough analysis of technology-rich instructional design. As you can see here, there are 6 steps, or we say, stages involved in this process, starting from identifying outcome goals and ending with evaluating success. If choosing technology can appropriately incorporate into the curriculum design, technology will just fit seamlessly and not to be a distractor for the student and for the teacher either. The first step, outcome goal and objective, measurable objectives. Any instructional program needs outcome goals for the students. Therefore, clarifying course goal should act as the first step in the process. Overall curriculum goals are usually set and determined based on marketplace requirements, including the employer expectations, governmental institutional requirements. Once overall outcome goals for the academic curriculum are known, so each more measurable and the more specified objectives are there to achieve those goals, and each individual lesson objectives are there to meet those class and the curriculum goal. And in evaluating success for language learning, one or more KPI, that means key performance indicator, might be needed for each measurable objective. So as a teacher, it's very important for you to know your KPI for your objective, class objective, before you begin to teach. And second stage, instructional activity. At this stage, still, you do not think about technology use yet. Instead, you should plan logical mix of measurable instrumental activity to achieve each of the class outcome goals. The activity the teacher can use in class include textbook reading, depending on the class size. Okay, lecture, usually the ideal time is 20 minutes or less than 20 minutes. Okay, discussion, student presentations, drill and practice, and role play, etc. And you should also plan how to measure success for each activity. So when designing the overall lesson plan for the entire semester, you should, as teacher, you should combine these activities all together, okay, in a very logical mixture. So when you introduce new knowledge by or through lecture, may be very important or more traditional, but activity must make students active again in applying their knowledge again and again until they have reached mastery. The best way to structure this language learning activity is by using tasks, known as task-based language learning. And also, one of the best ways to perform the repeated tasks is by gameplay, a process known as gamification. Gamification will make the repetition less tedious and more joyful, as everybody knows. Students, they love to play games. And TBLT sometimes can be referred to as TB, task-based instructional design. What are the tasks? Tasks are the specific thing that students need to accomplish, need to achieve, or problem they need to solve by a certain deadline. And there should be very clear connection between the tasks and the outcome goal of the class. And we should also make it clear to students why we are using the tasks. And students need to be held accountable, reliable, to complete each task. In most classes, being held accountable means that it contributes to learning. So every student must have a role in the entire task to complete the individual assigned tasks. Finally, not finally, the third stage, we come to the technology affordances. One of the most important criteria to use for picking technology is to evaluate the possible technology choices by their affordances. Okay, what does affordances mean? Affordances usually refer to the quality or properties an object possesses. Okay, and it defines its possible uses or make clear how technology, how this object can be or should be used in language learning. Okay, and affordances are the function and the benefits of the technology can offer for students towards their beneficial learning. And in core, the affordances can also be thought of the effectiveness by which the individual learning task can be performed. In most of the most commonly adopt or seen like a research method in educational technology is experimental design, where the researcher compare a control group and maybe with one or more experimental group to look at the differences as a result of the use of technology. But in our language field, we focus more on the affordances the technology can afford to student learning. Usually, it's not very commonly used. We compare two different like experimental design, like control group and versus experimental group. For example, technology can help students learning tasks that require repetition. If the teacher can transfer repetition out of class to online technology, by doing so, teachers will have more time in class to focus on higher level instructional functions or like activities in class. For example, technology can also help in tasks that require social interaction. For example, to engage and motivate students more, teachers can create a very authentic learning environment where learners from different countries with different cultural backgrounds are allowed or encouraged to interact with each other socially and oh my goodness, very carefully, socially and very actively to complete the assigned tasks by using the social network sites like Line, Facebook, or WeChat. Here, I would like to conclude this stage by quoting a conclusion made by Kennedy and Levy. Technology must be an essential part of the course technology is designed for. So it echoes my argument. And it should be beneficial to all the students for a sustained period of time, and not just an extra option that appears until novelty effects wears off and is only useful for some of the students. And some of the criteria we use for picking technology are as follows. You should ask the questions like technology will accomplish learning outcome, and familiarity or need for induction training. If technology required for class is new or unfamiliar to students, they tend to become frustrated and give up easily. So if this is the case, a significant amount of time will need to be devoted to introductory training, known as induction training. And you should always ask your students. You should always know how students will use technology. For example, will students use brief moments of their mobile phone for learning? For example, when on board, waiting for their friends to come and waiting for their meals to be served. If this is the case, then we should design tasks for those brief learning moment sessions. Or they might require longer time to learn. For example, they might need to set aside specific time for learning. and it's appropriate for their lifestyle, you should know that students, they have the expectation or unwritten rule that, their mobile phones are mainly for entertainment and, social functions. They might use, mobile technology in ways they are, different from their teachers. What's wrong? Different expectation from their instructors or system developer anticipate. So you should watch out for that. And novelty versus sustainability. If students, they perform better or they feel more motivated because of the new learning experiences, that's called novelty effect. Usually novelty effect will only last for several weeks. So you notice that, what technology continues to sustain their students' learning to achieve the outcome goal once the novelty effect, fades off. Okay, here, so it's your time, all right? So here is the creating lesson metrics. So I want you to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to think about your own class. So if you have a class for a language learning class, so you start with the objective, measurable class objectives, and then think about the learning activities, the next step activity, and the task and technology to complete the student learning activity. So these are the examples I'm providing to you. So please come up with several more. Just pretend you are not a language teacher, okay, and you are designing your class. So I'll give you 3 minutes. Maybe you can, I only have 5 minutes. My goodness. Oh, okay. So think about the outcome, the class objective, the activity and technology use, for the activities. How much time do I have? Only 5? I still have a lot to cover, so okay, maybe originally I would like to show your answers, each of your individual answers to the entire audience, so we can share. And this is called hands-on, very active technology learning. So I would like to kind of apply my theory, to my today's presentation. So engage you guys into hands-on, very active learning. So I'm looking for answers, maybe. So it should be near part will should allow me to show the answers, to present the answers to all of you. Oh, here? No answer, no answer. Probably you need more time. No answers. Maybe should I just move on? Okay. Now move on, 好了。 Too bad, because I have not received any answers. Actually, your decision about what technology to use for each learning activity will show that it's very likely that you will use technology for one technology for several different outcome objective, and it's also very likely you will use different types of technology for different learning activities. And technology rich in curriculum design, in this case, means using technology whenever or whatever it's beneficial to students' learning outcome. And remember that do not just use one technology in one limited category of learning activity. So use different types of technology for different learning activities. So keep that in mind. Yeah. Okay, creating lesson plans. When the big pictures are completed, then we move on to the very detailed writing a detailed lesson plan. So these are the tips for you to write your detailed lesson plan. So I think I'll just skip this due to the time limitation. And finally, okay, you teach the class. Issues or problem, it's inevitable. Issue or problem might occur, when the first time you use new technology or a new instrumental approach, is used. And so it's very possible. You may need to teach a course 2 or 3 times before you reach perfection. That's very possible. So please, don't get frustrated. If it's first time, you feel this is not a wonderful class and some of the operation of the course is not perfect. So you need 2 or 3 times to reach a perfection. And in other cases, please make notes about things to change or to improve next time when the similar or the same course is taught. And you ask your students about their suggestions. Some you might ask, what are your learning experience, and what are do you have any suggestions about the improvement for this class? So to your surprise, sometimes students will come up with very good idea about what improvement to make for next year. Okay, then evaluation success. Evaluation must be an ongoing process, and there should be a cycle. And always watch for little things needing to fine tune. These are called nuances. So when the new semester is over, then go back to the original measurement plan. And then you should don't just look at the success or failure of the class. You also need to pay attention to lessons you learn from teaching this class. And so you learn the lesson, and then you can, based on the lesson learned, to improve your class next semester. And those are the things I just mentioned, earlier in my presentation. So when doing the evaluation and analysis, please, check yourself if these are the things, the questions here, is done. Okay. And these are my experience, the best practice. All right, at the very beginning of the course, please remember to explain the benefits of using technology to your students. So you need to explain why you are using technology, and then select the technology very carefully that relate to students very well. When I say relate students very well, that means students, they need to know, you need to know the ease of use and the useful, the friendly, the user friendly. That means relate to students. And you should motivate your students to use technology, not just in class, also outside the class, and make learning with technology a natural part of their life, and then make it part of your curriculum and the part of the grade. We just say that. And the next statement is very important, so you should bear that in mind. Remember, do not abandon your students to technology. That means you need to engage yourself with them and be part of the learning process too, as a teacher, and monitor the progress along the course, and also correct them to make sure if they are on the right track or not. This is very important. And also, please give your students very timing and encouraging feedback so they can experience success and also feel motivated about using technology to learn. That's the best practice. My final thoughts. Okay, teachers should get to the point in their personal, somehow in their personal, professional life. Where technology. You should use technology for your own learning. And the learning via technology is not gimmick or just a flash in the pan. Remember that. And it should not be, just something extra existing of the side of the normal instructional interaction. And here I want to mention something about like computer literacy. When you talk about computer literacy, maybe a lot of you just talk about, if they are familiar with technology, can they use technology in a very efficient way? But when we in language mindset, computer literacy, talks about more than just like. That means if students have the ability to identify and locate very reliable, useful, and relevant information or data from the internet. Okay, that will help them to complete the required task. Okay. And sometimes students, if they don't have this kind of computer literacy skill, it's very possible they will, find so-called fake news or fake information or data. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe I'm looking for, if you don't have any question, I'm looking for, your feedback or comments about, my idea about incorporating technology into the curriculum design. I'm looking for your feedback.
So thank you for Professor Wu's comprehensive talk. So you mentioned about task-based language learning. So and how would you assess and evaluate students' English proficiency level, and which listening or speaking, or which part
depends on what kind of task you are using to achieve your objective. Yeah. So as I say, there are a lot of tasks. Remember, in drill and practice, presentations and role play. So you need to combine these all activities together in a, as I just say, in a logical mixture. So it depends on you as a teacher.
And then do you use Nearpod, this software with students?
I use a lot of different
to
types of
interact
technology.
with students?
Yeah, for each different activity, I just mentioned that you should use different technology for each different learning activity. Yeah, it really depends on the activity type. So each technology will have a different function. Remember, their affordances will be different. Technology will offer different affordances. Yeah.
Professor will introduce the
Thank you.
nature.
Yeah.
So we know the near part in this speech. And the organizer have a gift for Professor Wu. So now I present the thank you. There is a normal section for technology-enhanced language learning, and the presenter is the team of Professor Ogata. Who is the presenter? Okay, no problem. And the title is Image Recommendation for Informal Vocabulary Learning in a Context-Aware Learning Environment. So let's welcome Neho, right? Yes, Neho. Okay. Dr. Neho to do the presentation. Thank you.